major chord his love, and she got it right. What she played it on came from the light.
Welcome to Grandma's Journals. This channel began with a collection of handwritten journals, pages filled with everyday moments, quiet faith, family stories, and a kind of wisdom that only comes from a life well lived. These journals belong to my Grandma Peggy. Inside them are her thoughts, her prayers, her joys, and her struggles. Moments that may have felt ordinary at the time, but now feel priceless. My hope is that as you listen, you'll feel connected to her story and maybe even your own. Thanks for being here. This is Grandma's Journal.
The beauty of the song is joy in her eyes. The major chord is love, and she got it right.
Hello. Welcome. This beautiful Sabbath, at least it is the Sabbath for me. I'm sure when you're listening it won't be, but if it is, happy Sabbath. If not, happy whatever day it is for you. Today is Palm Sunday, so we just had 1 hour of church, which was wonderful. And then I figured I would take this second hour while I'm waiting for my husband to come home to record this week's podcast. So I do have to apologize that I did not get one posted last week. I was out of town, and so I wasn't here on Sunday when I normally record, so it just didn't get done. And then, funny/annoying story, I actually sat down and recorded this podcast on Friday, a couple days ago. And this podcast is a little bit longer because there is more in this year than there has been in past years. So it's about 50 minutes long-ish. And I did the whole thing, and then I went to upload it to edit it, and there was no sound. I recorded the whole thing with the speaker turned all the way down, or the microphone turned all the way down. So this is round 2 of recording 1986, and this time I made sure that the microphone was actually turned up so that I don't record another hour for nothing. So anyway, good times. So we're going to jump into, sorry, my like froze on me for a minute there. Ooh, I don't know what it's doing. Okay, hopefully it's, probably I need to close some of these things. Okay, all right, so we are jumping into 1986. I am a little biased to this year, but I will be honest, this was a rough year for Grandma. So it is a little bit of a rough year for her, but you know, one good thing happens in around the end of September of this year. So, anyways, we will jump in, but actually I'm going to give a little plug first. So when I recorded this on Friday, I recorded it right after I got done teaching my mission class. And so I still had my tag on, which I do still have it on right now because we just got home from church. And then we are going to our sweet nephew, his girlfriend, who is adorable and the sweetest girl ever, has chosen to be baptized. So we are going to her baptism shortly after I will be done recording this podcast. So anyways, but I had my tag on. And so I had put a little blurb out there for service missionary. So I'm going to do it again because I think it's awesome. So I know I've said it on here before, but anyone that doesn't know, so I am currently serving as a senior service missionary, and I am a teaching missionary. So I teach BYU Pathway religion classes and or institute classes. I have yet to do an institute class. I've only done the BYU Pathway classes, but I'm sorry, for those watching the video, I'm a missionary showing a little too much cleavage today. I'm trying to, probably should have used an undershirt, but just, you know, it's fine. Anyways, but I've just been teaching the BYU Pathway religion classes, and I absolutely love it. So what I had said on Thursday or on Friday was, if any of you have any spare time, which I know most of you are probably laughing saying, spare time, what is that? I've never heard of it. But I probably put in like 5 hours a week. So really it does not take that much. It really doesn't take that much time, but it has been so amazing and it has like blessed me so much. I tell my students all the time, like, I have no doubt that I learn more from them than they learn from me, like hands down. We have such good discussions. So I teach students in Central Africa. So my students are from like Uganda and like the Republic of the Congo and Kenya. So kind of that area, kind of Central Africa. And they just have a special spirit about them. I will tell you, sometimes it's a little hard to understand them. There is a little bit of a language barrier with their really thick African accents, but they bless me so much, hearing their testimonies, hearing their prayers and the things that they share. Like, it is wonderful. So if it's ever anything that has crossed your mind to serve a mission, I know a lot of people think, well, I got to wait till I'm old. No, you don't. I'm only 39 years old. Like, you can be in your 20s in a service mission. Anyways, if it's ever something you've thought about, if you want to know more, like, you can search it up or reach out to me and I can give you some guidance on where to go. But it has been such a blessing. So anyways, and especially serving those awesome people in Africa, which I know my cousin Justin, who I know listens to this podcast, he served his mission in Africa, a while back. So I know he has a firsthand knowledge of just how special those people are. So anyways, okay, there's my blurb about being a missionary, a senior missionary, or, if we got any of our youngins listening, a regular missionary. Our nephew Payson is actually waiting right now for his call to get in. There's a great chance that he gets it, this Tuesday, because it has been in for a bit. Anyway, so super exciting stuff. But okay, enough about me. We're going to jump into 1986. So let's do it. All right. Let me get situated here. All right. January 1st, 1986. In case you're unaware, this was 40 years ago. 40. 86 was 40 freaking years ago. Okay. The New Year's arrived so quickly, I think we hardly had time to think about the Savior and his birth and for the purpose of this great celebration. January 2nd, I went to see Dr. Hyatt for a pain in my rib cage and a long, thin line that appeared on my outer skin surface. Alec had just squeezed me too tight and broke a rib. But he was concerned with a lump that I had for 4 years in my right breast. He put me in the hospital January 7th. I was really sick when I came out of the anesthesia. I remained dizzy and nauseous for 4 days. I went home from the hospital the same day I went in, but at home remained nauseous and dizzy. On the 10th, I came down with the flu that was going around. By the 16th, I started feeling better, just a little dizzy and nauseous. So we went to Jeanette's for a little birthday party for Bart Robbins, a boy who used to live with us in Elfrida. By Sunday the 19th, I was really sick. Only the dizziness and nausea were so bad. Sweat was pouring off of me, and I was so weak I couldn't walk. I had been to see Dr. Cush that thought it was an inner ear infection. He had me on a medicine and a decongestion, but I was getting worse. That week was a nightmare. By the end of the week, I thought I was getting better. Came back with it again Saturday the 25th. We had just celebrated Clint's birthday the day before, and I was feeling a little better that day. Sunday, I was also feeling a little better. I went to church and felt pretty good all day. Monday the 27th, I got really sick again. Stayed sick all week. By February 2nd, I was so sick I couldn't stand much more. So Monday was a miserable day, and Monday night we called Otto Schill, a doctor and a friend of ours. He put me in the hospital and turned me over to Dr. Ed Smith. Sorry, I spelled Otto's name wrong. Let's correct that. I had every kind of test available done. I was in there until February 9th, and all my tests were good, and they found nothing, so I went home on the 9th. I had an appointment with Dr. Smith on the 13th. He started me on some pills that was supposed to balance out my hormones. Well, it got rid of my dizzy and nausea spells, but I'm still weak, and have a funny feeling in my side. I have another appointment on the 20th. I hope they find out my problems by then. I really want to get well. So poor grandma had an awful start to her new year of 1986. Clint James Hargrave, our daughter Jeanette and Jim's oldest boy, was ordained to a deacon by his grandpa Alec Hunt on February 2nd. I was in the hospital, but Alec said it was real nice. I was able to go to Justin Hargrave, Jeanette and Jim's youngest boy's baptism. His daddy baptized him. His grandpa Alec confirmed him. His uncle Steve talked, and a friend, Bart Robbins, talked. His grandma Peggy said the opening prayer, and his aunt Lori Fricky said the closing prayer. We always get the kids their scriptures for them as they are baptized. And I know she's mentioned that before, and I have said, I'm pretty sure all of us grandkids got our first set of scriptures from grandma and grandpa. And I know that my parents, my dad is Steve, Peggy's youngest, they carried on that tradition. And so all of their grandkids, my daughter and my nieces and nephew, have all also gotten their first set of scriptures from their, my mom does it, but anyway, so little tradition carried on, and I love it. All right. Today is Monday the 17th, which we're in February now. So February 17th, Washington's birthday. I'm having a bad day today, so I'm trying to get my mind off of myself and onto good things. I sewed a little bit, I read The Beloved Apostle, whom had the privilege of meeting him and enjoying him with visits to our ward because his granddaughter was in our Lehigh 2nd ward. Her name is Nancy Schill. The Beloved Apostle was LeGrand Richards. He died at age 90. She put a question mark, so somewhere around 90. One thing I forgot to mention was on January 28th, we had 7 astronauts that took off that morning, and the whole nation was watching because a school teacher was aboard the ship, Krista McAuliffe. She was so excited, as were her husband and children and school kids. They were all watching, even her parents. But something went wrong, and the spaceship blew up right in front of our eyes. It was hard to believe, and the whole world was stunned and shocked. It almost reminded us of the time our president, John F. Kennedy, was shot and killed. You could not believe it was happening. Not too many people will forget that day, nor the 7 that perished in the spaceship. But life goes on, and it's the pioneers like these crew that make things better for the future to come. So I think we've all probably heard of that event, but still super sad. And that is just one thing that I love. And I've probably said this before as well, but that I love about Grandma's journals is like she doesn't only tell what's happening in her daily life, but I love that she shares like these tidbits of things that are going on in the world. It's just kind of interesting and cool to read about them, like firsthand, like when they were happening. These are things that we've been taught about, that we've learned about in history lessons and things. But then to read about them, like when they actually happened, I just think it's super cool. So another testament of just how important it is to keep a journal. Keep a journal. All right. Let's see. I was dismissed from the hospital on February 9th, and still they had not found anything. Dr. Ed Smith turned me over to a gynecologist named Dr. Seal. I made an appointment with him on the 27th of February. I was still having nausea and dizziness. It would come and go. One day I would feel pretty good, and the next I would be in bed, so weak I couldn't stand up. Not ever been sick in my life besides flu, bug, or cold. It was exasperating. The days I was real sick was so scary, I talked to the Lord all day. The days I was feeling better, I talked to him all day so he would know how grateful I was just to feel better. It is now March 4th, and I am feeling pretty good. March 3rd was also a good day, so I'm hoping each one keeps improving. There is so much to do. Alec and I have been assigned to the Fort McDowell branch, and there is so much work to be done. I know the Lord will bless us, so we may get busy and do what he wants us to do. I have been reading Beloved Apostle by LeGrand Richards. Just finished the the book this morning. What a great person he was. If we could all serve the Lord as this man, how wonderful our world would be. Of course, I feel like my world is great because I have a loving husband that cares so much for me and loves me so much that I could not ask for a better mate to spend my life with. No matter what, he stays by my side and shares my dreams, my comings and goings, and my ups and downs. He is truly my pillar of strength. I love their love. I love it. Okay, I'm going to pause there because you guys know how much I love making connections between people when I'm reading this. So, crazy story. Grandma mentioned that her doctor turned her over to a gynecologist named Dr. Seal. So when I first read that, when I was doing these, I was like, oh, that's funny. I had a gynecologist named Dr. Seal. And anyways, didn't think much more of it. So the further I went along reading these things, sorry, I paused it real fast because my husband brought my glasses for me so I can actually see what I'm reading. Anyway, so Dr. Seal. So when I was reading later in the things, Grandma said his whole name, and she said Dr. Craig Seal. And I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, that's my doctor. That was my doctor I saw. So crazy to think that in 1986, Grandma went and saw this gynecologist, Dr. Seal, and then in 2010, I think it was. So what, 25 years later, her granddaughter happens to go and see the exact same doctor. Like, what are the chances? What are the chances? Anyways, we went and saw him for infertility stuff. He was a fantastic doctor. I mean, obviously we never got pregnant because I've never been pregnant before, but he helped a whole lot. I did a few surgeries with him. Anyways, he was a great doctor, a little quirky. So anyways, super crazy that me and Grandma had the same doctor. So I definitely had to call her up after I read that and be like, oh my gosh, can you believe this? Anyways, pretty crazy. But unfortunately, Dr. Seal did pass away, I think in 2019 in a climbing accident. So he was quite old, but he was out there climbing a mountain and had an accident and passed away. But super cool. Little connection there. 25-year different. I mean, I wasn't even born yet when she was seeing him, but anyways, okay. Back to this. All right, March came fast. I was still having good days and bad days. Our granddaughter Tabitha, who belongs to Steve and Jennifer, our son, had her baptism and 8th birthday on the 8th. Well, she wrote 8th, but Tabitha's birthday is actually on the 7th. So I don't know whether she was baptized on the 8th, but her birthday was March 7th, which I missed, but wrote her a little poem and had my daughter Lori read it at her baptism. Also, Steve and Jennifer's second girl, Stevie, in parentheses, Stephanie, so now she's officially Stevie for the first time, had her 4th birthday on March 1st. We went to her little party but didn't stay long as I was not feeling good. Then on March 9th, Tanner Hargrave, Jim and Jeanette's boy, had his 9th birthday. It seems like they are all around the same time. I like to do special things for each of them, but I was lucky to even be at the parties this year. I felt good off and on till the 15th of March, then I really crashed that Saturday and Sunday. I was so upset. I got up Monday morning on the 16th and I said, I am not going to be like this anymore. I pushed and pushed that whole week and started feeling better all week. Did good on Sunday and Monday, and I was so glad because we had our state conference on Sunday, the 23rd, and Brother Burton came to speak to us. It's always great to have these men with their Spirit of the Lord to visit us. Tuesday, March 25th, we went to town to get Easter goodies because we were having an Easter get-together with our family. By the time we got to town, I was feeling really sick. What a disappointment. I had done so good, and Alec was taking us out to lunch, and he had been so happy that I felt better. I guess disappointing him hurts the most. I called the doctor when I came home, and both of my doctors were out of town, and I couldn't get an appointment until Thursday with any doctor. So I just decided to wait for my doctor on Thursday the 27th with Dr. Smith. My side began hurting, and my mouth broke out with red spots all over it. By the time you wait for your doctor, you could die or get over what ails you. Wednesday, March 26th. I felt better today. The pain is not as bad in my side, and I hope this is a good sign. I just want to go and make sure I'm not having appendicitis. I made all my grandkids a little cardboard Easter basket and then made little wooden bunnies and little wooden chickens just so they can have a treat from Grandma and Grandpa for Easter. On March 29th, we had a family reunion Easter party. We did not plan on it, but Alec's mom misunderstood us. We told her that we were having a party for our kids and her and Doc could come if they wanted to. She called the rest of her kids and invited all of them, so we had the whole gang here. I wasn't sure I was up to it, but as it turned out, that day I was feeling pretty good. I think everyone enjoyed it and the kids had fun. Dr. Seal was trying to keep my nausea and dizziness down by giving me estrogen and hormones. It seems that it worked for a while, but the pain was worse and the nausea and dizziness are still there. On April 3rd, I went for a sonogram. Dr. Seal's father was real bad and he was making trips back and forth to Salt Lake City, Utah to visit and be with his family. So it was another week before I knew the results. He said he didn't want to get in a hurry to do a hysterectomy. He wanted time to think about it, but the pictures didn't come out clear, so I went back the next week and had another sonogram, which showed a big mass. So they did not want to wait. They would do the hysterectomy and get the mass out and do exploratory work. So on April 16th, I entered the hospital at 1 p.m. in the afternoon. They gave you stuff to clean you out all night, plus I was on a fluid diet for a week before, so I felt starved to death. Then that night, I went to my room after several tests, and there was a gallon and 1 quart of some stuff called Go Lightly, and my doctor said I had to drink it all in 4 hours. No wonder he said I wouldn't like him after tonight. I managed to get it down in the allotted time. How? I don't know. Dr. Seal came and saw me that night, and I told him I couldn't get mad at him. He was so sweet that I fell in love with him. He is a special doctor and one that really cares. He called almost every day while I was home for a week before I went in the hospital, and he was there every morning and every night. When he left on Wednesday night, he said I probably wouldn't like him at all on Thursday. Thursday, April 17th at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon, I woke up not knowing much, but enough to know I wasn't going anywhere anytime soon. I couldn't hardly move. I was so sore. I have never dreamed it could be so bad. I thought I would feel so good, and it felt so bad. That night, they got me up and put me on my feet and walked me to the bathroom. They put long hose on my legs to prevent blood clots. I was so sick from the Dermarol and morphine. By Thursday night, I said, no more. Just give me some Tylenol, and they did. Tylenol 3, which has codeine in it, and it keeps me wide awake. When they told me the second day I had to get up and walk down the hall, I thought they were nuts. When I got out into the hall, it looked as though I was going to walk the Great Wall, or the Great China Wall. Somehow, holding onto my stomach and walking slow and moaning and groaning down the hall, I made it. So in case it didn't make it clear, she had her surgery, she had her hysterectomy. So this is post-hysterectomy where she is in all this pain and it's hard to get up and walk and do all that stuff. Let's see, moaning and groaning, but I made it, as I did the other days. It was so painful just to turn over in bed, but getting up was miserable. When they said I could go home on Tuesday, I thought they were nuts. Here was an invalid who could do nothing for herself except go to the bathroom, take a shower barely, and walk back to bed. I had no idea what I was to do. I had to take 2 more tests before I left the hospital. They did 1 test to check to make sure I didn't have a blood clot in my leg, and then a sonogram to check and see how my gallbladder was doing. It was still red and inflamed, but I sure couldn't worry about that now. So come Tuesday, I went home. Alec was off for a few days, so he really had to work hard in helping me. I really felt sorry for him. I know it hasn't been easy. They put me on a low-fat diet in hopes to clear up the gallbladder. When Alec went back to work, the girls all took turns coming up and staying with me. They were super. They cleaned, cooked, did laundry, and I know it was a little hard on their families, but I am so thankful for them because it's nicer to have your kids help out instead of a stranger. The progress is slow. It's been almost 3 weeks since I was operated on, and I'm still not very strong and not doing too much. But I guess I will have to be patient, and time will tell. But I'm used to waiting on everyone, and it's hard to have them wait on me. While I was in the hospital, I had 2 units of blood. My count was down pretty low. It it did not bring it up to normal, but they said it was better. May 4th, all the kids came and went to church with Alec, then came by here and all had a barbecue and visited and left. It was so nice having them here. They enjoyed our church at Fort McDowell. They said it was kind of fun having a family church. The only ones that were there besides family was President Heasley and his wife, and one high councilman, and Joe Pierce, the guy over the scouts. So it was different. Alec was here with me Monday and Tuesday. I know he is getting so tired of cooking and doing things, but he is so patient. I can't believe it. He's doing such a good job for someone who's never done it at all. I hope by next week I can do some things and it won't be such a load on him. The girls would come, but I said just once a week to clean and do laundry. Besides, I'm afraid I'll be spoiled. Today is Wednesday and my first day alone. But it's not bad. I can get around much better now and can do a few things. Not many, but I manage my lunch and breakfast. So I'll be glad when it's over and I can get back to everyday things and my job in the church. This coming Friday will be our 33rd wedding anniversary, and I can't even cook Alec a nice dinner or surprise him in any way, but he knows how much I love him, and that's the important thing. So as somebody who also has had a hysterectomy, I feel her pain. Now, granted, hysterectomy is 25. I am not only 25. Hysterectomies 40 years ago are very different than ones were 5 years ago when I had mine. So, hers was much more invasive than they are now. So, I mean, she was far worse than I was, but like reading her description and holding her stomach and having to get up and walk, like I feel all her pains. Poor grandma. But slowly but surely she is getting better. So, all right, March 9th, 1986, our 33rd wedding anniversary. After Alec left for work this morning, I woke at 7:30, came in for breakfast, and on the table was a card that said, "Happy Anniversary." It was from Alec. Oh, I lost my spot. Sorry. It was from Alec, and it was such a cute card saying all the things that we usually do together. I was really touched. That evening, he came home with chicken, and we had a chicken dinner with carrots and jello and cottage cheese. For dessert, Alec fixed an angel food cake with sherbet ice cream and fresh strawberries on top. It was delicious, and our little celebration was great for our 33rd year. What a sweet guy. He is such a sweet guy. I love him. I miss him. All right, May 10th, 1986. Saturday, Alec was working, and it was a quiet day at home. I wrote a few letters, did the dishes, took a walk outside, and fixed myself some lunch. So I know I'm getting stronger, and it feels really good. One thing I have done since being sick is read. I've read scriptures. I've read Marriott, a Mormon who owns the Marriott hotels. Tekoa, the man who turned the Chrysler Corp around. Lauren Bacall's Be Myself. Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. First and second volume. Shadow Song, a cute love story written by a Mormon gal. Cracked Wheat for Christmas, a real cute story. And many LDS books. LeGrand Richard, Spencer Kimball. But now I'm really hooked on reading, and I hope I can adjust when I'm well. Tomorrow is Mother's Day, and my mother, Mary Latimer, is in Phoenix close by, but I'm still not able to travel, so I will call her. Hey, Grandma, there is nothing wrong with reading. I read all the time. I'm always reading a book. I love reading. All right, May 11th, 1986, Mother's Day. Alec worked, so the morning was quiet. I managed breakfast for myself and did dishes, walked a little, and then rested until my daughter Lori and husband Bill and boys Cameron and Tyler came. They brought a crab salad luncheon and visited for a while, and then I rested for a while, and Alec came home from work and we visited. Then Jim and Jeanette Hargrave, our daughter, and their kids, Clint, Tanner, Justin, and Brooke Ann, came and brought dinner, chicken and noodles, homemade. After dinner, Jim and Clint cleaned up the mess and did dishes. They were just leaving, and Steve and Jennifer, with Tabitha and Stephanie and Chelsea, all arrived. They visited and left early. Steve and Jennifer brought a beautiful poem and salt and pepper shakers with ducks on it to match my kitchen. Jeanette and Lori bought me a cute blouse and clam diggers, or as we called them, pedal pushers. The rest of the week, I went to my doctor. I am getting stronger each day, but it is going so slow. The weekend of Memorial Day was really special. I went to church on Sunday the 25th, and our stake presidency was there with their wives. Otto Schiele, is president, and he was our bishop in Lehigh Second Ward for 5 years. His wife Betty was there. Also, his first counselor Corey Gray and his wife Vonda were there. They have been our good friends for a long time, around 20 years. Also, the second counselor Burt Randall and his wife Gorma. We have known them also for many years, so it was really nice having them out to Fort McDowell Ward to visit us. Another great thing happened this Sunday. The nation celebrated Hands Across America. We had the United States participate in an event that simply held hands across this nation from California through Arizona and onto New York. There were gaps in places, but at 12 noon, they all sang Hands Across America and held hands for 15 minutes, and then it was all over. The comments were fantastic. The nation showed more patriotism than this nation has heard in many years. It was great. The first time I read that, I was like, that's super awesome. So I actually looked it up, and if you look it up, you can see pictures of the Hands Across America event. So I thought that was pretty awesome. Alec and I enjoy our grandkids so much, and when the kids call and tell us things they do, we get the biggest kick out of it. Right now, it is a trauma for them to raise, but someday it will all be funny to them. Clint Hargrave is our oldest and a dream. He has just been called to be the deacon secretary on May 25th. Tanner Hargrave is quite athletic. He loves baseball, and so far, they have only lost 3 games out of 10, so his league is doing really good. Justin Hargrave is the Hargrave clown. He is always getting things mixed up. He is 8 years old and still says almost instead of almost. He asks questions like crazy. Some are really off the wall, like, Mom, when you get skinny, are you going to be real tall? Or, is it 6 FM? Meaning 6 a.m., but we all laugh at him. Cameron Fricke is a real different kid. He can drive his mom and dad up the wall in 2 minutes, and he knows it. He is way ahead of his 4 years. His dad asked him if he marked on the sidewalk with a marker. He said, "No, I promise I didn't." So his dad said, "Well, let's go see if you did." And all Cameron said was, "Dad, you don't want to go out in your socks and ruin them." He had marked on the sidewalk and didn't want his dad to get the marker on his feet. He tells his mom and dad how to run the house, what to cook, and how to treat the baby Tyler, baby Tyler. 2 weeks ago, Lori gave Tyler a sucker to eat. He is 1.5 years old, and he turned the sucker around and jabbed it up his nose, and it hurt, and he cried, and Cameron was furious. He told his mom, "How many times have I told you never give that baby a sucker, Lori? Now look at what you did to poor Tyler." Lori has her hands full and keeps busy all day chasing the 2 boys. Steve and Jennifer have a little more quiet than the others. Little girls are more quiet, but they can be little stinkers when they want to. But they are busy, always learning. Tabitha is a little mother to Chelsea and Stephanie, and she teaches them a lot of things. They are both eager to learn. Stephanie is their little stinker, but she does it so cute you can never get mad. Chelsea is a very loving, independent little 2-year-old. I am getting stronger each day, and I know that if I will have patience, I will make it eventually. I loved reading those little descriptions that Grandma wrote about all the grandkids that are alive at that time. And it's just so fun to like compare them to the people that they are like now and see how some of those traits have continued to follow them throughout their lives. Anyways, I loved it. All right. Each day is an improvement on these last 3 days. Each day is an improvement, but these last 3 days have been bad days. I have been feeling weak and lightheaded, so it was disappointing. But I went to Dr. Seal today, June 4th, 1986. My operation was all healed fine, and I am doing good on that. So he thinks my pills might be making me sick, so they gave me a shot of progesterone to see if it will make me stronger and get rid of the lightheadedness. If that doesn't help, he suggests that I go to AutoShield and see about food allergies or hypoglycemia. Last month was Bill and Lori's 7th anniversary on May 26th. This month, Jim and Jeanette will be celebrating their 14th year on June 9th, and Steve and Jennifer will be celebrating their 5th year on June 20th. It's making us old. I am so grateful for my beautiful children and for their mates and families. We enjoy each other and everyone shows love and concern for one another. I have promised all of my grandkids that they could come out this summer, so I've got to get my strength and health back soon. It seems when I am down, so is Alec, so I've got to get up so he will too. We have lots of plans and need to get busy with them. I would also like to do Christmas gifts now so that I can have them done early and not panic in December. All right, Thursday, June 5th, 1986. I had gotten a shot from the doctor and felt so good all day, I was really thinking I was getting better. June 6th, Friday, I was not feeling too good. What a disappointment. June 7th, on Saturday, I felt even worse. Sick to my stomach, lightheaded, and very weak. By late evening, around 7 p.m., I started feeling better. I hope I am just having my ups and downs. I've started painting again, and I hope I can continue to paint and feel good about myself again. When you are doing nothing, you feel like nothing. I have read, but it's not like doing things for other people and making people around you happy. But I guess we don't pick and choose when we're sick and when we're not. I can't stand to be sick because it makes those that I love so much so unhappy. I can't stand that, especially my husband. We have so much fun together, and when I don't feel good, Alec is so sad, and I don't want that to happen. Life on earth is too short, and I want our lives to be so good here, but I guess we have to have our trials. It seems like I had so many of them growing up that we wouldn't have so many now. I guess I better quit complaining and be thankful for what I do have, and really, I am thankful for all I have. Each day has been better. The bad days are shorter. We are going to a wedding. Jack and Pat Miller's son, Jeff, got married. We went to the reception with some good friends, Corey and Vonda Gray. It was good to get out and especially good to see people we hadn't seen in a good while. Jim and Jeanette, our daughter and son-in-law, had their 14th wedding anniversary on June 9th, and Steve and Jennifer, our son and his wife, had their 5th wedding anniversary. We are so proud of each of our families and all they do for each other and for their kids. All week has been so good. I went shopping with my daughter Jeanette and bought some new clothes, which always gives you a lift, especially when I bought a size 8 pair of pants. I haven't worn that size since I was in my 20s. Now I hope I'm small enough to keep my weight down. I'm 5 foot 2.5 inches tall, and at this date I weigh 124 pounds, so I could still stand to lose a few pounds, but right now I'm happy to be well and feeling good. Our oldest grandson, Clint Hargrave, went to Camp Geronimo to spend a week. It's his first time, and I think he was pretty excited. His dad, Jim Hargrave, took him and the other boys up to the camp. Clint and Tanner, both Hargraves, have been playing baseball the first part of summer. Steve and Jennifer's girls are taking swim lessons this summer. All of them are pretty good. Tabitha has been swimming for several years, and Stephanie, age 4, has been swimming for a couple of years, and Chelsea, age 2, is getting started this year. Also, the Fricky boys, Lori and Bill's boys, Cameron, 4, and Tyler, 18 months, are taking swim lessons at the Pura Club, which is a club for people who work at Salt River Project and their families. June 22nd, Sunday. Alec had to work, so I went to church by myself. When I arrived, President Heasley was the only one there. Then his wife Diane and girl Erin came. Then one of the Lamanite girls and her 2 kids, Carrie, age 2, and Heidi, age 9. President Heasley conducted, blessed and passed the sacrament, and gave a talk. We started at 10:20, and we were out of there by 11. President Heasley and I left immediately for vacation. It was a short meeting, but President Heasley always has a spiritual attitude and does such a good job. June 24th, 1986. Alec and I went to Thatcher to attend his uncle Rex Layton's funeral. It was so nice. He had been ill for many years, but managed to keep going and doing. He went back up on Mount Graham, and that's where he passed away. He was air-vac'd out, but died before they left the mountain. But he loved it up there, and that's where he wanted to be. Alec and I visited with all of the aunts and uncles and cousins and enjoyed seeing all of them. Erdine's days will be lonesome for a while, and this will be the hardest part. But she is strong and brave, and I know she will still be fulfilled until her next time to meet Rex again. It was a beautiful funeral, and Rex's son Robert spoke. I know it was hard for him, but he did a beautiful job. It left us with our thoughts as we traveled home, but then I was really sick and glad we were headed home. So another little connection that I'm going to share. So Rex and Erdine Layton. So that's Grandpa's uncle, which would make them like my great grand aunts and uncles or whatever. Anyways, okay, so Tabitha, Steve and Jennifer's oldest daughter, who is my oldest sister, her second daughter, see if y'all can follow what I'm saying. So my oldest sister, Tabitha, her second daughter, Lizzie or Elizabeth, she got married to Cody Molyneux last year, and Cody's great grandparents are Rex and Erdine Layton. So, which y'all might be thinking, wait a minute, doesn't that mean they're related? Now, Tabitha does have a different biological dad than me. So, by blood, Tabitha is not related to the Hunt side of the family. So technically, Lizzie and Cody aren't actually related. But anyway, so I thought that was pretty cool. So Rex and Erdine, they just went to Rex's funeral, and that is my niece's husband's great grandparents. So anyways, cool little connection there. It's a small world. It's such a small world. All right, moving on. Like I said, this podcast is going to be a little bit longer than most because she did write more in 1986, but it's fine. It's totally fine. All right, July 4th, 1986. This year has been the most patriotic year we have had in a long time with Hands Across America, and now Our Lady Liberty is having her 100th birthday, so there are many people in New York, about 3 million, to help celebrate this 4th of July. We watched a lot of it on TV. Lots of ships in the harbor. On July 3rd, when they lit the torch on the Statue of Liberty. The weather is wet, but hopefully the fireworks won't get rained out. Some of our children are going to the Pirate Club to picnic and to watch fireworks. Others are staying home. Alec and I are staying home. Then we are going to Jim and Jeanette's tonight. I'm spending the night, and then Alec will pick me up in the morning. He is working night shifts. Then we are going to an auction that is selling furniture. July 5th will also be our granddaughter Brooke Ann's 5th birthday. July hurried by fast, and as time goes on, I feel better. But I am so impatient because I don't have the strength to do what I used to. I want to have my grandchildren with me, and we've been having them one at a time. But when they leave, I am so tired and exhausted. I have to rest up for a few days until my strength returns. I don't like it this way, but I've got to be strong and overcome this thing. I know I am stronger than what I am. I will keep fighting. I have too sweet of a family to let them down. Whatever else my family members think of me, the mistakes, the tears, the tempers, please let them remember my laughter. Hang on. Sorry, I needed to mark a spot. Now I lost my space right here. Okay, sorry. Please let them remember my laughter. Guard me against becoming a grim and careless mother who was unable to see the funny side of life, even when things go wrong. Help me to always have my chin up off the floor and go on with life no matter what is dealt to me. I am so thankful for my husband, who is the rock I stand next to. He's there for me, holding me up and caring, helping, and guiding. How sweet it is to know he cares so much. We are awaiting our 10th grandchild. We keep saying it's a boy. Maybe it's because Steve and Jennifer want a boy so bad. It's been a hot August with not too much let up. But we love it up here at the dam. We look out the window each morning and see our big red mountain looming up in the big blue sky each morning. Pause real fast. So, I remember when we would drive to Grandma and Grandpa's house on the dam, both sides of the dam, which, when they lived in each house. Once I saw that mountain, I knew we were close. Because I was little then. I didn't know roads, but I knew when I saw that mountain, we're almost there. Anyways, we have seen so many different birds and wild pigs by the dozens right in our backyard. Cute little skunks, chipmunks, and most of all the beautiful nature around us. The only thing we dislike is the rattlesnakes that visit so often. Well, this is September already, and I think all of our kids are glad school has started, especially the moms. We were all kind of worried about Brooke Ann going to school. She is a mama's baby, and she still carries a doll and sucks her thumb. But she surprised us all. She was so excited, her mom didn't even go with her. Tanner and Justin took her, and she loved every minute of it. She told me all about it with those big old brown eyes flashing and talked so grown up. She is a little doll. Clint, our oldest, is in junior high, and he is really growing up. All of the kids are changing and getting so big. With me being sick for so many months, we have not been to the temple in a year. We finally went last week. We went through with one of my seminary students and her husband and children. She is Julie Taylor and is the sister of my daughter-in-law, Jennifer Hunt. So Julie is my aunt. Me, Jessie, speaking, not grandma. That's my Aunt Julie and my Uncle Howard. So Julie's husband is Howard, and it was such a precious time. They both seem to sense the spiritual aspect that was in their lives, and the ceiling was so beautiful. They are truly a happy family, and they are ready to go back often. What a great truth to go to the Lord's house and feel that great spiritual feeling that you can't have anywhere else. All right, you guys ready for the best part of 1986? I'd do a drum roll, but that'd probably be loud. September 25th, 1986. September 25th brought us a new granddaughter, not a grandson, sorry. Jessica Lynn Hunt, aka me, Jessie, who's reading this podcast. I have finally entered the family. Welcome to the world. Jessica Lynn Hunt. Now Stephen and Jennifer have 4 lovely daughters. I guess the Lord still has their boy. We were all happy about the new little one. She is a beautiful little girl and we adore her. Oh, so sweet. I'm officially born. I have joined the Hunt family. You're welcome. Just kidding. I'm not really full of myself most days. All right, October 1986. October brings lots of birthdays to our family. We started out with Blanche Hunt McCullough's birthday, Alec's mom, who celebrated her 80th year at her granddaughter Gwen Fierro's in Globe. Her date is October 7th, but we celebrated on the 11th so more of the kids could be there. There was very few that didn't show up. The house was full. The food was delicious, and everyone had a great time. Blanche was so thrilled with everything. All right, so we're going to pause from the journal for a minute because I have a poem that Grandma wrote for Grandma Blanche for her 80th birthday. So I'm going to read that to you guys. So it's on like old school typewriter printed paper, and it's called A Tribute to Our Mom. To capture 80 years of lifetime in a poem is not an easy task for me or you, but to give a special tribute to a great lady is a wonderful thing to do. She has shared her lifetime with all, her children and grandkids as well. She has went to every wedding, graduation, special parties, and we think it's swell. She's worked hard for all her many years. She has taken time for fun and play and dance. A conscientious woman in her home and in her dress. If she looked like a million, it wasn't by chance. You raised 2 beautiful daughters and a special son when life was not easy or too much fun, but we want to say thanks to you for all the things you've said and done. You have given me a gracious man with whom I share my life. You are his lovely mother and I his lucky wife. Love, Alec and Peggy. Oh, I loved it. So that was a poem that Grandma Peggy wrote for her mother-in-law, Blanche, on her 80th birthday. All right, October 9th, 1986. Alec had an appointment with the doctors to get a good checkup. He has been having problems with his stomach and a few pains we didn't think he should have. So all the tests were taken and all came back good except for a bleeding ulcer. And they put him on 2 medications that I don't know how to say, Tagamet and Carafate, and said that would heal him. So we are very grateful, nothing more serious. We are really trying to do the right things and keep the word of wisdom and eat the right things to keep our bodies healthy. October 22nd is our son-in-law's birthday, and Our daughter's is October 28th. So Saturday the 25th, we had a barbecue here at the house and all the kids came and we had a fun birthday. Jennifer and I had a good laugh. We had both wrapped Jim's gift in the same wrapping paper. And then when he opened the packages, we had both bought him the same shirt. But what was bad was Jennifer had shown me the shirt she bought him, and I still got the same one. Jim has a good sense of humor, and he just laughed. He exchanged one of the shirts for a pair of tennis shoes, so he got what he wanted. We all had a good time, though. October 30th was my mother's birthday, and she is 70 years old, so we decided to do something real special. So my sister, Emily Thompson, organized a beautiful party. It was a surprise, and she sent printed invitations to all of Mom's friends, kids, and brothers and sisters, and asked them all to write a little letter and send pictures so they can make an album and put them all in the book. Responses were great, and Valerie Thompson, Emily's daughter, made a beautiful padded album, and they put it together with so much love it really showed when you looked at the book. The party was held in Scottsdale at the Godfather's Pizza Place, and her brother, Haji Moore, and his wife, Ursula, who was very ill, and his brother, Lou Moore, and his wife, Carla, sister-in-law, Carmen, and her little sister, Fredna, came from California. Her sister here in Phoenix and her husband was all here. Only one brother and sister couldn't come. All of his kids and their family were there. Mom was so surprised, she actually shook all over and had to sit down. She was so thrilled with everything and so surprised at all of her family coming from California, especially her brother Haji, who is so ill. He probably doesn't have long to live, but he managed to come and it was special to all of us. November 1986. The year has flew by and it's November again. The last year was not a very good year because when you are sick, you don't do too much. But I am doing better, and as long as we don't go anywhere after 4 p.m. in the afternoon, I can make it through the day without getting too tired. The tiredness bothers me because it is real extreme sometimes, but I think time will tell. November 2nd. Today was fast and testimony meeting at the Fort McDowell Ward. We usually go at 10 a.m. to sacrament meeting and have 18 to 20 chairs set up and hope we can fill them up. Well, today we had to set up 5 more, and it was special. We started out with 1 Indian attending, and we always kidded about 1 little, 2 little, 3 little Indians. Today we had 10, and it was fast and testimony meeting, and every adult Indian bore their testimony, and the tears streamed down their faces. It was such a spiritual meeting, and the love that poured out of these Lamanite people was so special. And I know these are the blessings that we receive working with the special people. After I left church, I was thinking how special it is to have Sunday to worship, and then my thoughts went to my husband who was working and missed this special Sunday that should have been in his life. I am hoping that by January, his job changes and he gets his Sundays off. Alec got off work at 1:30 and came and picked me up, and we went to Steve and Jennifer Hunt's ward and were there for the blessing of their daughter, Jessica Lynn. 1 month and 8 days old. She was in a little bonnet and matching dress with little pink flowers, and her black hair was really showing. All of the family was there. Jeanette and Clint, Tanner, Justin and Brooke Ann, Lori and Cameron and Tyler, and Jennifer's parents, Dean and Joyce Lester, and her brothers, Brad and Mark, and her sister, Jody. Jim and Bill were working. Also, Bart and Valerie and Kevin, friends of the family. Afterwards, we all went to Steve and Jennifer's and celebrated Chelsea Ray Hunt's birthday. She was 3 years old, or would be, on November 5th. We just celebrated a little early, but it was fun. Alec knew I was really tired, and we stopped at a little Mexican restaurant and had dinner. It was so good, and it had been a while since we had gone out. I love going out with him as it is always special. He always has things to say and talk about and keeps the romance in our marriage. I have been preparing for Christmas, but not with the vim and vigor I usually have, but I still like to sew and work with my hands, and while the grandkids are little, I have to sew stuffed animals and fun things for them. The older grandkids are a little harder to buy for, but they usually give a hint or two of what they would like. Alec helped a lot this year by shopping for our son and son-in-laws. He bought belt buckles and knives for the boys. Alec's birthday was November 11th, and all the kids came and brought gifts and hugs, and we had cake and ice cream. Alec and I don't really buy each other gifts anymore. We just try to save and buy the things we need, not want. December 1986. Christmas came fast and was here and gone before we knew it. We visited each of the children and exchanged gifts and went to visit my mother in Phoenix. I got to see a half-brother that I hadn't seen in several years, Alan Latimer, and Becky and 3 sons. But most of all is the spirit that is here at this time of year. Knowing the Savior and the spirit that lingers around this time of year is very special. We went to Jim and Jeanette's early Christmas morning, and when we got there, the 3 boys were up and no one else. We asked why they weren't opening gifts. They said because our parents would kill us and we couldn't open them till everyone got up, and we can't wake them up or we're in trouble. Well, we assured them that Grandma and Grandpa wouldn't get in trouble, so we went and woke everyone up. After all, it was 6 a.m. They had a real nice Christmas and everyone was glad about their gifts. We went to Stephen and Jennifer's, and they had already had Christmas the week before. Their oldest daughter had Christmas at her real dad's, and so they decided to have Christmas early. They had a Christmas dinner and everything. But come Christmas morning, it was really a disappointment to them. They said it was the most depressing Christmas they had ever had, and they weren't ever going to have it early anymore. But at least they had our gifts to open that day. It was something they wanted to try and wound up not liking it. But we all do that in our lives. That's called learning and living, or living and learning. We went to Lori and Bill's and exchanged gifts with them and had a nice dinner and went to Phoenix to see my mom, Mary Latimer. It was 5 p.m. before we left Mom's and returned home tired and a little hungry, but a nice day. All right, and last entry of 1986, December 31st. Stephen and Jennifer came and spent the day. We enjoyed the girls and visited and played. They wanted us to stay up and watch the New Year come in, but I knew I couldn't. I got way too tired, and if I stayed up that late, I couldn't get over it for a week. And I know when you're young and healthy, it's hard to understand. So the kids left early, and Alec and I went to bed early. But the New Year came without us seeing it there, and my only resolution was to get well and feel better this year. All right, and that's a wrap on 1986. So she shared a lot. There was a bit of a rough year for Grandma for sure, but she made it through and she's getting stronger each day, and they got another grandbaby. So, I mean, what more could you ask for? Just kidding. So that's 1986. Thank you for sticking with me. I know that was about an hour long, which is a little longer than normal, but I know that those of you that I have talked to that listen to this really enjoy it, and I'm sure you don't mind having a little bit of a longer episode. So anyways, well, next week we will jump into 1987 and see what the late 80s have to bring us. So I hope everyone has a fantastic week. Happy Holy Week. Next week is Easter, so I hope everybody takes time this week to celebrate and to remember our Savior and all that he endured this week, the last week of his life, before he offered us the greatest gift we can ever give or ever receive, his atonement. So I hope everyone takes time this week to really study Holy Week and focus on it and think about our Savior. And I wish everybody a happy Easter. I miss celebrating Easter with our Hunt family. It was very sad when those Easter parties ended, but hey, we got about 40 years in these journals that we'll get to relive those Easter parties together. So that's exciting. So everyone have a great Easter and a great conference weekend as well. They fall on the same weekend, which is wonderful for those that watch conference. I hope it is wonderful for everybody. All right. See ya next week.